Hey guys, welcome to Into Fly Fishing. My name is Pierre Hubert and today we're going to tie the popular permit fly, the Avalon Shrimp. For the material that we're going to use, first off, a saltwater hook. This is a size 2, grip 21711. This is a normal saltwater hook. For the primary weight of the fly, we'll use a medium tungsten bead in black nickel color. The thread is Danville 210 denier, flat waxed in tan. One of my favorite threads. Very strong and lays flat. For the egg sac on the fly, we're going to use rabbit zonker strips in shrimp or orange color. For the antennae on the fly, we're going to use micro Krystal flash in black. For the legs at the back, we're going to use a combination of translucent silicone legs and barred white or grey silicone legs. To form the keel on the fly, I'm using Maxima Ultra Green 25 pound and 3 tungsten countersunk beads in fluorescent orange. This is 3.5 millimeters. For the body, I'm using a ribbing of Krystal flash and pearl and chenille in the same color as the claws. For the claws themselves, I'm using tan zonker strips. To seal the fly off, I'm going to use Solaris thin UV resin. For the tools that you'll need, a rotary vise is really handy. A bobbin holder for your thread. 1 or 2 pairs of scissors. I have a short pair here with a short cutting surface and a long blade scissor. A dubbing loop tool to spin a dubbing loop. A paper clamp, normal paper clamp just to grip some fibers from the zonker strips. A whip finishing tool and a UV light to cure the UV resin. So without further ado, let's start tying the fly. So the first step is to add the hook to the vise. Make sure that the shank is level and that the hook point and the barb is exposed. Ensure that the hook is seated securely as well. Place the thread over the hook and make a couple of wraps forward, then back over itself to lock it in place. Then cut off the excess. Run the thread forward to the eye and then run it backwards halfway down the shank. Now run forward again to where we're going to tie in the tungsten bead. Leave enough space in front of the tungsten bead to form the head of the fly and later on tie off the keel and whip finish. Secure the bead right on top of the hook shank and just check the bead from the front, ensure that it's level and straight, and secure with cross wraps and wraps around the bead. You can also add a drop of super glue at this stage, but for the purpose of time, I'm not adding some right now. Now run the thread all the way back with touching turns, creating a thread foundation, and run it slightly around the bend of the hook, like so. This is where we will form the egg sac. Now take your dubbing brush tool. Mine just broke, but we can still make use of it. And form a dubbing loop right there at the back of the fly, and then turn the thread around the base of the dubbing brush to close it down. Run the thread slightly forward and place the dubbing brush aside. Now we're going to take a piece of the orange or shrimp color, salmon or coral, whatever you want to call it, zonker strip, and pull them back so that the fibers turn perpendicular to the piece of leather or the base. Now pull it tight by holding it at the top and at the bottom, and open the clamp and push it over the fibers like so. Now take that long scissors of yours, pair of scissors, and cut the fibers from the leather section until you are left with that, like so. Pull out any loose fibers. Now take your dubbing brush and open it with your finger. Just want to move the light slightly, like so. And place the dubbing brush in between the fibers or the thread fibers. Not like so. I just let it slip out. I'm going to do that again. And open the clamp and remove it. Now you're left with the fibers that are inside the brush. Now turn the brush. I'm going to pick it up so that you can see what's happening here. Turn it, turn it, turn it. Really turn it quite a lot to open the brush up. The thread won't break because it's 210 denier. And then with your finger just pick out all the fibers and comb them out like so. Running my thread forward now, and at the base of the fly I'm going to palmer or wet your fingers and just comb all those fibers back. I'm going to palmer a section of the zonker right here as tight up against each other as possible to form a zigzag. Right there. Now run your thread back and tie off the loop. It's fine if you trap a couple of fibers. And cut off the excess, like so. You can use a comb to comb out any fibers, but that should look something like that. Right. Now, take a section of, or cut a section of the black crystal flash. Turn the fly on its side slightly and tie that in on the side of the fly, like so. Leave it quite long, we'll trim that later on. Now take another one and tie it on the other side of the fly. This is to imitate the antenna of the shrimp. And even though it looks quite crinkly now, as soon as it gets wet, it really pulls out nice and long, and it makes the fly look very lifelike. Now, get some of the translucent fibers, silicone legs, and tie one in on each side of the hook shank. Then run the thread all the way back, secure it. I'm going to attach it to there. Turn the fly around and then attach it to the other side. I am deliberately tying in the silicone legs quite far back on the hook shank to create a taper for the body. Just want to cut off that excess there. Now do the same with the barred legs. So, and one on the other side. Like so. Run your thread back to just behind the eye of the hook. And cut off a section of the 25-pound monofilament you chose to use for the keel. The keel of the fly is designed to make the fly ride hook point up. So this will really make sure that you don't get stuck to the bottom, and it will also make sure that you get better hookups on the permit. Run the thread back, securing that monofilament all the way back to the base of the egg sac. Now I'm going to tie in Krystal flash for the ribbing of the body. One strand is fine. Don't want to make the fly overly flashy. It's just something to catch the light in the water and just reflect it up to the fish, back to the fish. Run my thread halfway and then cut a section of the chenille. I tie it in at that point, at the halfway point, once again for the taper, and tie that into the base of the egg sac again. Now I run my thread all the way forward, just behind the eye, behind the tungsten beads. Now I just want to brush those fibers forward again. Now I wrap the chenille forward with touching turns, covering the body. Now on the original fly, many of the flies you'll see out there, you'll see that they tie the body with tan marabou that was twisted. I did make use of this, especially on triggerfish. I found that it was a problem because it was too brittle. So I started using chenille and it worked a little bit better for me. So now just wrap the ribbing in the opposite direction than the chenille, like so, and tie it off once you get to the front. Great. Now it's time to start tying building the claws. So the first step is to get a section of zonker strip, like so. And for a fly this size, I cut a leather strip of about 1 inch. In our country we would say 2 centimeters or 2.5 centimeters, but 1 inch is the same thing. So cut off about, it's really a rough estimate. We'll cut it to the correct size later on. So rather tie in more than too little. So cut off a section like that. Be careful of not cutting off any fibers. And pull out any loose fibers like so. Turn the fly on its side and place the section you just cut with the natural lie of the fibers forward, backwards to the base of, to the bend of the hook. Place the leather section on the side of the shank and secure it with some thread wraps like so. The leather should face inward to the inside of the body till you're left with that. Now turn the hook again and cut off a similar sized section of the zonker. Slightly longer, slightly shorter is fine. As I said, we'll trim this later. Remove the loose fibers and tie in right there. Right. At this stage, we can go forward with the trimming, creating a collar for the fly. So most patterns you'll see out there pull over the keel at this stage and finishes it off. I like adding a little collar right here. So to do that, in the same way that you created the dubbing brush for the egg sac, taking a piece of this tan zonker strip and stroking all the fibers out so that they are perpendicular to the base. Place your clamp over there and with a long scissor, you can find it, I cut off it off from the base until you're left with that. Stroke out any loose fibers, you can pinch it tight. That's it. Now, I'm not going to do a dubbing brush here. I'm going to split the thread. So, with your thread flat, push the point of the hook right in the middle and the thread should split like so. Now I take the paper clamp and insert the zonker into the brush, into the split thread. Now I pull the fibers out slightly so that they stand like that. Now you pull out about 4 or 5 inches of thread, let it hang over your finger and spin the bobbin. Unfortunately I'm using an offset bobbin here, so it's not going to spin that easily, but we'll spin it manually. Right, then you push forward all the twists and you reel up your bobbin. And now you have a brush. Once again, wet your fingers and palm it forward. Now take your thread to the front of the eyes, like so, and select the appropriate amount of beads from tungsten beads. So this will determine how fast the fly will sink. So anything from 2 to 4 would be fine. The beads, the movement of the beads also create a rattle, so I try to stick to 3 at least. So to do that, just take the monofilament and put the beads onto the monofilament like that. So now they're loose, and I pull it quite tight initially and secure it like so with your thread. So it's quite tight. You don't want that because you want the beads to be able to move freely, and the depth of the keel will actually force the fly to ride hook level in the water as well. Very much similar to the keel of a ship. So now I just pull the keel, monofilament, to open the keel up like so. It's a little bit too much. Something like that is fine. These beads can move freely. Now pick the monofilament up, pull it back. You'll see my hook moved slightly. And with the old scissors or what piece of wire cutter or whatever, just cut off the monofilament. And I create a head. Take your whip finishing tool and do a whip finish. Pull it tight to the knot and remove the thread. Right, so what we want to do now is to cut the legs and the claws to the right size. So firstly we'll start with the legs of the claws. These claws are quite long. You'll see what we did here with the Avalon is we created claws that can move in the water. So as you retrieve the fly forward, the claws will fold back, and as it stands still, the claws will start moving in the water. Brilliant, brilliant design. So now I'm just going to cut the claws at a taper, like so. Till they're that long. Turn the fly over to the other side. Cut them at a taper. This one is slightly, oh, they're the same size. That's it. And now for the legs, the silicone legs, I'll trim the same length, and the crystal flash, the black crystal flash, I'll trim slightly longer. So in total this is quite a long fly, and that's where the effectivity of the fly lies, the fact that it's so long. So I'm just measuring it like so, and slightly longer. To finish the fly off, stroke back and wet your fingers and stroke back all the fibers, and coat the head quite liberally with head cement. Like so. And then take your UV torch and just cure that. And that's it. There you guys have it. That's the Avalon Shrimp. My rendition of the Avalon Shrimp. Very effective permit fly. Tied very small. You can also use it on bonefish. And tied very large with size 4.0 or 6.0 hooks. You can even target giant trevally with this fly. So I hope that you guys enjoyed the video. Please subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time. Cheers.